Hi, Sarah Mack here from withsarahmack.com, and I'm popping on to answer a question that I just got from Branko about how the during the period of the full moon you can experience some kind of strange, maybe undesirable, perhaps challenging um, energy, mood, mental state. So I just wanted to share a little bit about that to support you if you've been feeling affected over the last few days. Maybe you've been feeling emotionally triggered, maybe you've been having some crazy mindset stuff going on, maybe some actual situations have been showing up in your life that you've been finding challenging to navigate or have been a little bit out of the ordinary. So depending on how familiar you are with the concept of the full moon affecting your life in some way, in any way, I just want to share a few insights and pointers that will really support you to just navigate times of energy fluctuations in a really supportive way. So, have you been experiencing an emotional trigger? What is an emotional trigger? When you're not feeling good or when you've been feeling really intense emotion around something. Maybe there's, whatever story has been going on for you, maybe it's a particular situation in your life that has been creating intense emotions. Normally we're not really affected if it's very intense good emotions. So if you've been experiencing some uncomfortable emotions like feeling a lot of anxiety, maybe feeling a lot of fear, maybe self-doubt, maybe you've been in massive procrastination and resistance, feeling really unproductive, maybe you've even been, sparking fights with family or people that you're close to, or you've been experiencing conflict in your relationship with clients or the guy in the grocery store. Whatever weird stuff has been coming up that doesn't feel good, that's been creating resistance or friction in your life. These types of occurrences tend to happen with greater intensity during the period of the full moon. Now, it can be more drama. It can also just be more intense emotions. It can be more intense fatigue. You can be particularly lethargic during, the days either before, during, or after the full moon. So I'll share some stories about the way that this has particularly affected me as somebody who's gone through a lot of transformation in the past few years. And transformation is really my jam. It's my expertise. It's the thing that I'm constantly helping people with go through periods of big transition in their life. So whether you're moving like physical location, whether you're like massively up leveling in the amount of joy and freedom, maybe money that you're experiencing. These are, full moon time is it's like throwing a magnifying glass over your life so that you can really see the areas that are being called to your attention so that you can shift them. So just know if you're not feeling good, it's actually a good thing. It's kind of like your emotions are always just putting up their hand and being like, hey, pay attention to me. I have a message for you. So that's one of the things that will really support you. If you are feeling emotionally triggered, don't go into distraction mode. Don't hide away on your iPhone on the Instagram scroll. Create some time and space. Put everything down. Be quiet and be in the discomfort, because that's the way you're going to shift through it faster and stop it from spiraling out of control and just like getting worse. And getting louder and more dramatic before you actually sit down to listen to the wisdom that your emotion is bringing you. So sit down, go into the emotion, and just have a conversation with it. Be like, hey, like if you can name it, fine. If you can't, no worries. Like focus on where it's happening in your body. Notice what it feels like. Notice what kind of sensations are happening for you. And just have a conversation. Be like, hey, emotion, hey, really intense emotion that I'm like really uncomfortable experiencing. What are you here for? What is the message that you have brought me? What is it that you're trying to call my attention to? And just be really open to it. And it's okay if you don't get an insight immediately, but just creating that space, setting that intention to be receptive to actually listening to yourself and what's going on underneath the surface, it will always produce an answer for you. Whether, the more you practice this type of technique, the more instantaneously you can get insights on your intuition. And even if you don't get an instantaneous insight, it will start to be, it'll be ticking away in your subconscious mind. You've given it that directive that you're available for that insight, you're listening, and you're open to receiving whatever insights are coming up. Then it will show itself to you, if not in the following hours, in the following days. And suddenly you'll get that epiphany of, oh, I know why I was feeling that way, or oh, I know what it is that I'm being called to shift or change in my life, so that it just feels more aligned and more in flow, and there's less of this emotional friction and resistance going on. So, really simple, listening to your emotions, giving them space, and also just allowing them to process through your body rather than trying to control them, run away from them, deny them, or numb them out, which, let's be honest, is how we've all been trained to deal with our emotions. So, you can forgive yourself for not being good at it or feeling really horrible while you're doing it. And know that when you do start to do that, it can start to unlock a lot of the emotions that you just haven't been feeling, that you've been shoving down and suppressing and ignoring because you haven't had the tools to do it or you haven't felt safe to do it. And, rightly so, you've just been taught to run away from the things that feel bad. There's no such thing as a negative emotion. All it is information, right? Like, we are human beings. We can expect to feel angry just as we can expect to feel joyful and relaxed. We can expect to feel frustration and fear just as much as we can expect to feel love and connectedness. We have the full spectrum of human emotion, and life would be pretty boring if we just lived in one emotion the entire time, right? So there's no such thing as a negative emotion. If something is coming up for you and it's really present and it's really loud and it's really uncomfortable, then just know that it has an important message, and if you listen to it, then you can start to take different action, and you can start to shift back more and have more power over your ability to take actions in your life that make it easier for you to be in your desired emotional states of joy, peace, calm, and whatever else it is that you desire to feel. And so, yeah, so the full moon, it's kind of like this big magnet, like it brings up all of these dormant things that have been lying beneath the surface. So know if you're feeling fatigue, that's just a sign from your body that it's time to go and shut the door and do some listening, because all the while we have energy and we have that inspiration and motivation to be going out into the world and taking action, connecting, living our lives. That's great, it'll keep flowing if that's in alignment for us. If there's something that's maybe out of alignment or needs tending to or needs shifting, that's when those moments that we don't feel like doing that, the more you resist that, the more painful it gets. So if you just listen to it and give yourself permission to just go inside, spend a bit of time listening, doing some journaling, and really just asking powerful questions like, what am I feeling right now? And just doing some free writing, seeing what comes up for you, giving yourself that time and space will always yield results. It'll always yield insights where you'll be like, oh, I didn't realize that, I was being particularly triggered around this thing because of something I didn't process in the past that, just has been feeling misaligned for me and has been creating internal friction. And actually what maybe I've been ignoring this call to do something else that actually would feel really good for me to be, for me to do in my life. So it's really an opportunity for us to take our power back over our life, to stop living unconsciously and just really start paying attention to our internal signals, because they always have our best interests at heart, right? They always are trying to lead us to the things that are right for us and that feel good for us. And it's so valuable to use any type of time that can trigger that, to really welcome it, to surrender to it and celebrate it. And know that, even if you are feeling really like you're in a tough period or you're experiencing some really intense emotions that are kind of taking you out, causing things to not really go to plan for you, know that there's a reason. You will survive it, you will get through it, even if you can't show up and continue controlling your life in exactly the way you like it to be controlled. Know that that's not the way you're intended to live on this planet. You are not intended to be able to control everything and anything and have everything work out exactly the way that you want it to, because life would be pretty boring if we could control everything and everything was in our control. That's a lot of responsibility, right? So we get to just sit back and surrender to whatever it is that's going on, lean into the lesson, lean into the growth, and recognize that there's another level that we do not have the insight for yet. And through creating that space, we get to receive those insights, we get to shift to a new perspective, a new relationship with ourselves, a new way to show up, and to just have more fun and more expansiveness and more alignment. So full moon is a really amazing time to be doing that. A few other activities that can really support you in times, any times, full moon or not, when you're experiencing these type of emotional or mental challenges, are to have a conversation, create a space where you have a sounding board to be able to get that clarity, to be able to connect with yourself and get some insights and some answers and kind of release the emotional burden that's happening with you. Obviously, we don't want to be doing that and releasing our like uncomfortable emotions over everybody and anybody. So choosing that strategically, and that's why a journal is a great place to start with that. But if you have a therapist that you work with or a coach that you work with, working with an energy healer is an amazing way to really tune in and feel safe and held to be able to feel whatever it is that's going on for you, no matter how intense those emotions can be. And that's a really great time to do that. And obviously just nurture, self-care, spending time by water, spending time in nature, listening to music, drawing, any kind of creative activities that allow you to process your emotions without getting too much into your over analytical brain and getting too wrapped up in a story or a particular problem that's going on. And know that can happen too, in that sometimes we project our emotional experience onto our world around us, and we perceive a problem where really it's just an emotional message that we're being asked to process and to release. So if you notice that you're finding problems in your relationships, you're picking fights with people, you're getting really stressed about something in your work, know that that's sometimes just your mind attaching to a story to make an emotional experience make sense. So it's a really important during these times of intensity to just be really present, to get out of our thinking mind and to not be caught up in a story. Notice if you've got any particular thoughts on repeat that are causing you stress. You get to let go of that story. You get to drop into the emotion. You get to feel into whatever message it has for you, and not create drama and not be poking sticks on other people and blaming them for your emotional experience. The only way we create true freedom is by claiming 100% responsibility for our own well-being, because we will never have control over other people, how other people respond and react to us, how other people feel. That is not our responsibility. So if you are one of these people that you have found obsessing over the way other people are responding to you, wanting to control that, wanting to change the way you're showing up so you can control the way other people show up, that is a massive energy drain. So, having so much compassion for yourself and just not acknowledging the patterns that are showing up that aren't serving you, and, setting your intentions to take new supportive action. And just, the full moon cycle is a really amazing way to kind of monitor and stay focused and stay really intentional around your relationship with yourself and what it is that you're looking to shift. And I'll wrap it up there. I could go on and on and on about the full moon, but I would love for you to share your experiences. What is it about the full moon that particularly creates a certain type of experience for you, or the way that you like to relate to it, and the way it's either helpful or has been a challenging time for you. But just this one takeaway would be to just have curiosity about it and pay attention to where the moon cycle is and how you're feeling at particular times of the month. Obviously, if you're a woman, tracking your menstrual cycle is like the number one thing that affects your life and your energy levels and the way that you're showing up and you're experiencing the world around you. Sometimes that can sync up with the different phases of the moon. I don't know if men have man periods. Maybe you can tell me. I've heard that this is a thing, and I was actually wondering that today. If like men still associate with this idea of creativity as like birthing something, setting an intention, then like putting work into it and then experiencing this kind of like birthing process of seeing your intentions come to fruition and come to life. So definitely want to ask them then if they resonate with that analogy for creativity as birthing, and if they have man periods, and if they relate to the moon cycles. So I will leave it there. I would love to know your insights, and I do have a freebie that can support you during this time. I have a creative money meditation. It's something to just help you tap into that feelings of unlimited possibility and expansion, and really to help you align your mindset. So if you do have any negative story loops, listening to a meditation and affirmation and just like getting your mind back on a more supportive track that makes you feel really expansive and really connects you to your ability to just feel good, feel excited, inspired, and in flow in those moments is super, super supportive. So let me know if you want that. Drop an emoji below and I'll send you the link to download that freebie. Sending you a big hug for full moon time. Thank you so much for watching. Please like this and send some loves if this has supported you, and have an amazing evening.